Front, Fuller, Harmon, Hall, and Mamula. Fuller with 6 sacks, 2 last week. Mamula, who had been quiet, 2.5 sacks last week against the Giants. The middle linebacker, James Willis, leading the Eagles in tackles. William Thomas had a terrific game last week, NFC Defensive Player of the Week. And Troy Vincent, the one-time Miami Dolphin, a strong secondary for the Eagles.
And then any equipment will always be fundamentals.
2nd and 12. Farad hit from behind by Mike Mamula, who's not that big but has great quickness.
Yeah, he was a #1 draft choice of the Eagles a year ago.
2nd and 7, Redskins.
This is a different and much more confident Rodney Peete.
Much different looking Philadelphia team as Farad goes down. Rushed by William Fuller.
Fuller took an inside move. Yeah, we talk about having to keep your foot. I have to say, okay, I look good. I'm ready to go.
I'm not sure they get up in the morning. I think they just stayed up.
That's left over. Mamula.
Mamula around the corner. Again, hit Farad. Mamula with great quickness.
And that's the place that...
Gus Farad is still the quarterback. The handoff is to Terry Allen, who's tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Mark Woodard. Already.
And this is a surprise to me that I think the Redskins should punt in this situation, because with 2 minutes and 2 timeouts, they have time to go.
Here comes the blitz. Farad just throws and throws it away. And a flag on the play. A penalty marker down.
That's the best thing that the Redskins could have hoped for, is a penalty against the Eagles, but I think it's going to be against Farad for throwing the ball away.
I think you're right, yes.
Yeah. Because you can't throw the ball away to avoid a sack. And you're going to see here, the blitz is coming, the guy's free, and Farad is going to get sacked, and he just throws that ball away to avoid that sack.
10-yard penalty.
So 10-yard penalty against the Redskins. First down, Philadelphia.
More of a 90s look here. 3rd down and 7 from the 12-yard line is far. It's protected well, but the secondary really does a number. And Brett is forced out of bounds well shy of the first down, and will have to settle for a field goal. He has a lot of weapons at his disposal here. 2nd and 10. Bennett swinging to the outside. Nothing happening there. Mark Woodard first to pop him. Dorsey Levens in the game is the sole setback on 2nd and 6 now from the 23. And they give it to Levens. And he can't get out of the backfield. Tackled at the 25, setting up a 3rd and 8. Michael Zordich blitzing through. Packers have already taken the ball away 9 times in less than 5 quarters this season. 6 against Tampa Bay last week, 3 tonight as Bennett is stopped in the backfield.
They're reacting instead of making something happen.
Double tight end set. That's Chimura in motion. And he tries to block, but Favre has to scramble, and Brett steps out of bounds. And do we have a flag at the end of the play, as William Fuller may have pushed him, but I see no flag. 10 from the 40. Here's Levens. Nothing happening. Loss of 2. Red Hall breaks the play up with 11 minutes to go in the
first down on the 18 of the Eagles. They go to the running game, and Barry Sanders, and he is stopped by Troy Vincent, who came over from the Miami Dolphins with a big tackle and a loss of 2. Goal from the 7. Perriman in motion. Mitchell. And throws it up for grabs, and the pass is intercepted by Bobby Taylor. And that was a botched opportunity for the Detroit Lions.
That was poor by Scott Mitchell back on.
Didn't even help the ball boy up.
He did say excuse me, though. I think I heard.
I think we read the lips. 4 seconds to go in the first quarter. First down. Barry Sanders is stopped, and a loss on the play, and it was William Thomas. And that'll be the last 100 yards in each of his first 2 games. Has 29 yards on 9 carries. Morton, or Mitchell, is sacked for a loss, and Red Hall got through up the middle.
And a good job. They got pressure up front, but a nice job in the secondary also of taking away that.
So 6 DBs, 1 linebacker, 4 down linemen.
Makes 11, doesn't it?
I hope so. I really hope so.
You mad?
Here's George going deep, and it's right in the hands, picked off by Troy Vincent. Wow, it looked like it went right to his hands.
Yeah, and this is one of the things the Falcons have not done this year is throw the ball downfield.
And the Falcons out of timeouts. Eagles ring 4, screen pass. How about that call with no time left?
Oh,
and a fumble, and it's picked up in midair, now fumbled back. And on a change of possession, if the Atlanta Falcons get it back, the clock will stop with 9 seconds to go. Down and 8. George with a quick setup. Caught, dropped, and sacked at the 13.
That's one you just have to get rid of.
William Fuller.
Yeah, the mush rush was on that time. And actually, there was no mush in that rush. He got there.
Remember Emmett Thomas?
Pants on Cornelius.
You don't want to change pants and forget to button them up. First and 10, George. Across the middle, tip, intercepted by William Thomas. What an athletic play by William Thomas.
Hey, Burns, he had 7 interceptions a year ago. More than any linebacker since 1983, and that's why he stays in a nickel. William Thomas is their middle linebacker when they play nickel and they play run and shoot team.
3-man rush. Hebert picked off by William Thomas. That's his second tonight. Breaks the tackle and is still running.
Boy, oh boy. Some guys just have, you talk about a nose for the football. We mentioned he intercepted more passes than any linebacker since 1983 last year when he intercepted 7. Now, he hadn't intercepted a pass yet this year, and yet they're lingering around in the huddle. And there's 10 minutes left in this ball game, and you would think they'd be getting in and out of the huddle a lot quicker, with still an opportunity and a chance to win the ball game. And they're spending way too much time in the huddle.
Play clock down to 14. Play clock. Hebert deep left side at the goal line. No flag. Bobby Taylor, who's a big cornerback, 6'3", 207.
Yeah, all these Philadelphia defensive backs are big. And you have to with these athletic and big wide receivers that are playing in the NFC in particular. I don't think, he had his right hand on it. The crowd has reacted. They saw a replay, thought it was pass interference. That's kind of an athletic move for a 6'3" guy.
Well, he had a genetic advantage. His dad, Robert, won a gold medal in the 400-meter relay at the Munich Olympics.
Yeah.
And a silver in the 100. Into the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Mathis.
What I don't understand, though, about Bobby Taylor and his jersey.
Right.
And he's the only Taylor on the Eagle team.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's got that initial B on there. When Jeff George has a J on his, because there's a Ron George on the, there's the J George.
Right.
And they have a Ron George, so he has R before the George on his name, but there's only one Taylor on the Eagles. So explain that to me. There, see? That makes sense to me.
Okay. B. Taylor.
B. Taylor didn't make sense.
It's a motto. Be a Taylor. 3rd and 10. Hebert pumps once. Emmanuel. It'll be 4th down.
You have to go for it here. You're down by 16 points. You need the 3 scores. And you need a field goal at some point, but you sure would love the touchdowns first. And there's, speaking of names, you see the little accent over the E on Bobby Hebert.
Is that accent different than an umlaut?
Yes, it is. Or a tilde. But this is an important accent over, too. The straight arm and the shoulder.
2nd and 1 out the shotgun. 3-man rush by the Eagles. Hebert, nobody open right side. And he might have struggled enough to get the first down. He's at the 31.5. Mike Mamula with the tackle.
He does a good job, and then he drills the ball to Tyrone Brown. That's a good play by Bobby Abrams.
Yeah, after the good play, he's sacked at the 20-yard line. Kevin Johnson, number 94, and William Fuller, number 95. 2:19. Jeff George pulled in the 3rd quarter after his 2nd interception of the night. Hebert has thrown 1 touchdown. Goes deep across the middle. There's another interception. This one to Brian Dawkins, number 20. And the rookie safety looking for a convoy. And he put a move on Metcalf and is finally knocked down at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, now Eric Metcalf knows what it's like to tackle Eric Metcalf. I mean, he really did put a move on Eric. And Brian Dawkins is a guy that Ray Rhodes, doesn't really go, is not overwhelmed by players a lot. Doesn't necessarily go overboard when he's describing players, but he really likes this Brian Dawkins. Now, this is an easy interception. This is thrown right to Dawkins. And again, not much of a spiral on it, just a wobbler.
You're being kind.
Yeah. The option pass, catching at either end. Then he's trying to pick up some blockers. And then the move on number 21 is going to come a little later in this run. And this is what, that was right there. And that's what people fear when Eric Metcalf has the ball in his hand.
Because he usually did. This was my tab. He tried to order $65 bottles of wine. Intercepted. Zordich. That's 5 interceptions tonight.
Yeah, Ray Rhodes is saying save some of these for next week, fellas.
And if you want to look at bad blood, go to William Fuller and Eric Williams.
All night long.
Yep.
Here's Emmitt Smith going next to nowhere. Gets across the 25, setting up a 3rd down and 4 with 9 minutes to go in the quarter.
To play themselves back into shape, and now they have an opportunity to show that. And 3 of those guys are on that offensive line.
2nd and 11. Look out. Aikman gets sacked, and it's Red Hall who picks up the ball after Brian Dawkins creates the play, and the Eagles get right back in the game.
No flags. You notice that on the play before, James Willis came on a blitz up the middle. That time Emmett Thomas comes on a blitz from the outside with his rookie Dawkins and gets the big play. Down by 10, the Eagles have gambled defensively, and boy, has it paid off. Man, you said something earlier. This was a piece of cake for other Cowboy teams for the last couple of years. You blitz them and you were in trouble. They'd release it so quickly. They didn't slow the blitz down, and there's no one to throw the football to.
And the Eagles are unsettled in terms of setting up for the X.
For Dallas, we've had so many of them.
Cowboys up by 6.
Comes forward.
Under pressure, loses the football, and Philly has it.
William Fuller. That's what you expect from a Pro Bowl player.
He created it, and Red Hall, who had the interception for the touchdown, recovers it.
.107 out of 119 possible plays.
Well, Jet's going to run it out of the end zone. He's going to run around, and then he'll take the safety there. And that will make the score 23-19, and now they get the free kick it from the 20.
Lawrence Dawsey in motion, and Brown is sacked back at midfield. James Willis.
Mike Mamula just ate him up. Yeah, Mamula. I want you to watch Mamula. Now Mamula's been waiting for this.
The Giants with 3 wide receivers. Lawrence Dawsey is checked in. Dave Brown, and he is sacked. A couple of Eagles, including William Thomas, sandwiched Dave Brown, and a loss that time of 7 yards. Strawberry have homered, and the straw man hit 2 yesterday in the victory over Baltimore. Here's Tyrone Wheatley trying to go left as the Giants have their worst starting field position. 5 at midfield. Play fake.
Dave Brown going down.
Now that I don't get either. Now you go play action when you know you have to throw. Who you fooling?
Brown with a short drop. When he starts spinning around like that, you know he's going down.
Well, there's also no place to throw the football.
William Fuller with the sack, the 4th for the Eagles.
You know, this is one thing I don't get right here. I mean, they're running deeper patterns.
Yet the Giants lead 10-3. 3rd down and 10. Just got the snap off in time. And
Make that 5 sacks.
Yes, and that time it was William Thomas.
They're just scheming him right now. This is a credit to Emmett Thomas and Ray Rose and that defensive staff. Willie Thomas came off the corner, and there's Emmett Thomas right there.
Offense throughout this game starting to catch up to them now. 3rd down and 10. Here comes Mamula, and Brown is sacked up the middle.
6 sacks, 4 completions.
Red Hall with his 2nd sack and the 6th of the game. Keep in mind, the Eagles, who had 48 sacks as a team last year, had only 8 coming into this game. You're a poet and you're a kid, and we love you for all those things.
Oh, yeah.
Tyrone Wheatley, the running back, 1st down on the Giant 27. Dave Brown hit, and he loses the ball. It's a free ball picked up by Thomas, and Thomas is going to run it in for the touchdown. And the Philadelphia Eagles, with a big defensive play, have scored the touchdown. Now, Red Cashin.
I don't know. That looked like it should have been blown right there.
Well, Cashin may rule that it was a...
But I think he put his arms up already. Watch, he's looking. Right. There's coverage down the field. Now he's trapped. Now take off. He's about to throw.
Mike Mamula forced that.
Oh, he tried to throw that away. That is a fumble. That is correct.
Yes, they were all over it.
That's a poor decision. That's a very poor decision by Dave Brown. He was going down. He tried to flip it back like it would be an incomplete pass, and instead he got a fumble. Mamula beats Bishop to the top side. As he's going, watch him at the end. See how he tried to flip it up to Wheatley? Instead, it's ruled a fumble, and that's what they're going to have their discussion about right now.
But the call was a correct one. It was a fumble. Brown said he was throwing. He was not, and the Eagle touchdown should hold up.
Board didn't indicate it. They thought that was a winnable game the last time they played. If they play this poorly in their offensive line, they're not going to win that game either.
The Eagles will play host to the Miami Dolphins next week at Veterans Stadium. 2nd down and 10.
Make that sack.
Brown loses the ball, and Aaron Pierce jumps on it to recover it for the Giants for a touchdown.
And you also have to credit Ray Rose. I think he's an outstanding coach. He gets his group ready to play. You know, they lose their starting quarterback.
Here is Dave Brown going for Thomas Lewis, and it's intercepted by Bobby Taylor in the end zone with 3 seconds to go. A solid exclamation point for the Philadelphia Eagles today.
McDuffie flanked to the left side. It's back to the ground. Oh, what a stop on Abdul-Jabbar. James Willis able to cut him off. 6 of 12, 51 yards. Dolphins have not been able to get going offensively. Off the roll. It is picked off on a deflection. Brian Dawkins with the interception. And looked like William Thomas able to get a piece of it.
There's a little bit of a discussion. Was there interference? There is never interference after the ball is tipped. You cannot interfere with a receiver at that point. That time they moved the pocket a little bit. Rather than have the landmark right behind the center, Craig Erickson rolled to his left, tougher for a right-handed quarterback. And as you see, William Thomas reached up and tipped the ball, stayed in the air long enough for Brian Dawkins to intercept it.
And for Dawkins, his 2nd interception of the season, the rookie out of Clemson, sets up the Eagles' 1st down. The Dolphins take over at their 20-yard line. And Abdul-Jabbar, once again having difficulty accelerating. Ronnie Dixon, the 3-year man from Cincinnati, getting the raps on Abdul-Jabbar.
Motivation. Both coaches are very good at that.
2nd down and 13 from the 17-yard line. A deep drop now by Erickson, and then he lost his balance. He slipped, but Red Hall will receive credit.
Safety out of Duke and was moved in as a linebacker in the draft.
2nd and 9, and Abdul-Jabbar tried the other side, could not make the turn, met by Thomas and Willis. Well, the 5th-round draft pick from East Carolina, Jarris McPhail. Here's Erickson on 1st down, and now he is taken down by Andy Harmon. 2nd sack of the day by the Eagles. The other was a cover sack by Red Hall, and Harmon with his 1st sack of the season. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Erickson trying to protect the ball, and he's taken down for the 3rd time. Eagles were looking for a strip. He was able to tuck it in, but he could not get the throw off. Greg Jefferson, a 2nd-year player from Central Florida. 81 McDuffie in motion. Abdul-Jabbar again hit back behind the line. James Willis with the tackle. Willis has played well once again here this afternoon. 28-21. Erickson is taken down, but a penalty marker is thrown.
And Jimmy Johnson may be complaining that Mike Mamula got a jump on the snap count and maybe was offsides. He was sure quick around the tackle.
And Kozar looking to dump it off.
They want to come with what they got, a different personnel package.
So Carolina burns the timeout, and after the timeout, it is 4th down and inches, 9th play of the drive. And Collins gives off to Johnson, who twists, and Ray Farmer, a rookie and a 4th-round pick out of Duke, had a big hit on him, and the body language of the Eagles would tell you that they have held Carolina.
Well, anytime you don't have a tight end, I want the tight end went in motion, so let Farmer blitz right off the tackle's butt. And you'll see when this tight end goes in motion, there's no, and this, watch this man, he'll come right down the line, chase right down behind the line, boom, he's got him before he gets to the line of scrimmage.
So referee Bernie Kukar's crew will try to give a measurement and see just how close Carolina is or is not. The Panthers began at their own 27-yard line, and you can see they're still trying to align the chains. And the Eagles come up with a big defensive series to stop Dom Capers' offense.
Well, you can't give yourself a short corner on short yardage. And what they did in that short yardage, when they sent that tight end in motion, there was an open side.
We begin the 2nd quarter, 2nd down and 10 for Carolina, trailing by a touchdown from their own 33-yard line. The handoff goes to rookie Winslow Oliver, who's brought down and smelled out beautifully by an emerging star at cornerback Notre Dame's Bobby Taylor. Del Greco, one of the great golfers.
I never thought Del Greco had a leg for a 56-yarder.
And a hit on Johnson. They call it a completion. They call it a fumble, and the Eagles get it back in the 1st turnover of the game. Recovered by Mike Mamula.
Hit by Troy Vincent. Complaining. You get your plum in the back up, and you end up not smelling so good.
3rd down and 9 for Collins. Moves deftly out of the pocket. And he's being chased, and he gets a block, and he's forced out of bounds. Hollis Thomas, a rookie. That is a sack by Philadelphia, the 1st of the day, and the 1st of the career for young rookie Hollis Thomas. Now Carolina will try to capitalize. 1st and 10. The handoff goes to Howard Griffith, who is strung out and banged down by Brian Dawkins, a rookie from Clemson.
Well, you wonder why you come back in and run Howard Griffith.
Collins, and he's got room to run. No blocking, he'll take it himself, and he lost the ball. It's a fumble recovered by Philadelphia. Brian Dawkins, the rookie from Clemson, comes up with the Collins fumble, and it couldn't have come at a worse time for the Carolina Panthers, who give it back to Philadelphia on another turnover, which is their 2nd today.
He didn't slide. He was trying to run it in. If you're going to run it in, you got to cover the ball. They get the helmet right on the ball. Brian Dawkins puts his headgear right on the football. And out of watch Brian Dawkins, 20 and 23. That's Troy Vincent. And it would not go out of bounds for him. It stayed in bounds. Dawkins makes the recovery.
Carolina had no turnovers last week in their win over New Orleans. They've got 2 today, and that about as costly as they can. And 9. They need a 1st or they're done. Collins throws. It's high and incomplete and out of timeouts. The Carolina Panthers are out of chances.
The Miami Dolphins test.
Sherman Williams, the deep back. Replacing Emmitt Smith, stopped by the left side of the Eagle defense.
You don't see Moose Johnston miss a block very often. Boom, they go right where he was for a touchdown.
Irvin split wide to the left. Taylor out there with him. Screen pass was supposed to develop. Didn't ever have a chance. To Emmitt Smith. And there's a little wrestling match going. That's Fuller and Eric Williams.
Fuller's going to be in an all-day fight over there.
Taylor deflected the pass intended for Irvin.
You don't think Bobby Taylor's fired up?
Whoa.
I remember a year ago when he was going to play against Michael Irvin the first time, and Ray Rhodes said he had to challenge him, and he did challenge him, and Bobby Taylor that week was Defensive Player of the Week, and he is covering Michael Irvin right now like a blanket.
He might win that award again.
I know, and if he doesn't watch out, he's going to be Defensive Player of the Game again. Defensive Player of the Week again, I mean.
He surprised Vincent with that inside move.
I think he surprised the safety that he went inside.
There's Emmett. No, this is Sherman Williams. Taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Loss of a couple.
William Fuller was the guy that got in there, but the whole offense has gotten better.
3rd and 8. Watch Kelvin Martin. Aikman. Pass is picked off. The interception by James Fuller. Aikman threw it on the way down and probably shouldn't have.
And you wonder where that play come from. You know, how many years have you been watching the Cowboys and see him sprint out? Watch Troy Aikman is going to come out here, and this is an organized sprint.
Yeah.
He's rolling out here, and you see they got that gate there. He's getting pressure from Hollis right there, and he hits him just as he throws the interception.
Irvin waving his hands, but Fuller read it coming.
And he tried to throw it to Irvin too, spending a lot of time in the huddle for it to be a simple run. This could be some kind of play pass here.
Emmitt Smith is deep. Moose Johnston in front of him. Bjornsson in motion. To Emmitt. Can't get it. Wrestled out of bounds by Troy Vincent. That stops the clock with a minute and 9 seconds left.
You know, Troy Vincent's played a heck of a game today too. I mean, you know, his guy Deion Sanders hasn't caught a lot of passes. They try and get to the outside, and he comes and makes a heck of a tackle there. The Eagles need 2 more big defensive plays here to force the Cowboys to try a field goal.
2nd and goal. At about the 1.5. Johnston in front of Smith. Knocked backwards.
Now the Eagles need 1 more big defensive play.
Sylvester Wright knocked him backwards.
He really knocked him backwards. You watch Wright's going to come in right there. No one blocks him. He gets the shot right there. Whew. That's the way to play goal line defense. You get everyone down, you get penetration, you give them no cutbacks, you make them bounce to the outside, and then you have your guy sitting right there. See, he's sitting right there. He plays off the block, and makes a great tackle.
3rd and goal at the 3.
The Eagles need 1 more great defensive play.
Aikman's going to throw it if he has time. Picked up in the end zone by Willis. Willis laterals to William Thomas. This is Thomas. Troy Vincent down with the ball, and Vincent will stroll into the end zone. Talk about disaster.
Unbelievable. The Cowboys were in position. They had the field goal. It's 3rd down. You don't want to force anything. Troy Aikman forced that one. But I tell you, I said that the Eagles had to come up with 2 great defensive plays, and they did. They come up with one where they stopped that run, and then that one where they intercept that for a touchdown. Now you're talking football.
The total return, 105 yards.
Hey, if they were going to go play pass would have been better on the second down. You see what happens here. You go the play fake, but no one went for the play fake. Troy Aikman gets rushed. He's trying to get out of it, and he just throws that ball in there. Of all the guys to try and throw it to, if you're going to force it to someone, don't force it to Ty J. Armstrong.
The extra point is good, and the Eagles lead 31-21.
Matched up on a safety in pass coverage.
Kelly to throw underneath the coverage. Pass is complete. As he comes, no.
Fumble, Charlie.
Holy
Philadelphia
cow,
ball.
Loses the ball. And he is as sure-handed as anyone in the NFL. We're going to step aside. We'll be back in a moment. The Patriots have been on a bit of a roll.
I'd like to be in the locker room with a big tuna on that one.
Yeah, here's Thurman Thomas. And he is down at the 21-yard line.
That is the Eagles defense we saw earlier on the last two plays. Changing the play.
Kelly, good protection. Two receivers, same spot, intercepted. Eagles ball. Brian Dawkins, that is the third interception of the year for the rookie.
I tell you, the catch is very nice. Jim Kelly throws this up in Andre Reed's general direction. But what you got to watch is the tap dance. I mean, here is the composure from a young rookie. Catch, tap dance. 1-2.
Why in the world, though, did the Bills have two receivers in the same neighborhood?
Why in the world do you throw interceptions? Stuff happens. Look at the feet. 1, 2. Yes, that is a nice play by Dawkins. And that takes a little bit of the sting off the last possession for the Eagles. Remember, they were getting the matchups.
You carry them with you for a long time, is what you do. Here's Derrick Owens, and this time he stopped back at the 31-yard line. Let's see what's going on in the BC next Sunday, starting at 12 noon Eastern Time. We did it. Here's the play. And Thurman Thomas. Listen to this crowd.
Well, that's exactly what the Philadelphia defense needed to do right here.
Gives to Terry Allen, who slipped in the backfield and never quite made it back to the line of scrimmage.
You can't throw a post in there if the free safety's sitting there.
It's Terry Allen with nothing. Lost perhaps a yard. Mike Mamula was the first Eagle there.
You know, one thing about Norv Turner, we said he'll call the plays and he'll mix them up. And the thing that I like about him is he'll take a shot. I mean, he's not a conservative guy. He's not one of those guys that's just going to get in this situation without checking this Eagle defense to see if they're covering something deep. I mean, somewhere in here, he is going to get deep. He is going to take a shot, but they hadn't been real successful at doing that.
Here's Farad. One of the Eagles went by, knocked the ball out of Farad's hands, and the Redskins are lucky to get it back. Joe Patton came up with the ball. Has the ball at their own 20. 1st and 10. Farad under pressure, and down he goes, hit from behind by a blitzing William Thomas.
If they don't get the first down, whether they kick the field goal or not. If they do get the first down, then the game will be over.
Farad rolls right. Didn't fool Dawkins. And down he goes.
Now I think you're right.
The handoff to LaShawn Johnson. Nice gain on 2nd down as he is forced down. Now the ball pops loose. Picked up by Philadelphia. This is Dawkins. He is inside the 25. And Philadelphia will take over with outstanding field position.
Big play defensively right off the start of the game. Emmett Thomas has told this group that defensively we have got to attack and we have got to be able to put pressure.
Not much at all. Little flea flicker, and Esiason is dropped inside the 10 by William Thomas. You can try a play like that, but you better block. 10 sacks. Another weapon for Ray Rhodes. 1st and 10. Esiason is sacked, brought down just outside the 30, and that's the 2nd of the day for William Thomas. The left foot came down. So the incompletion now 3rd and 8.
Now the Eagles defense trying to answer. Big pressure. Esiason sacked. Mamula was there. Red Hall was the first to get to him, and 3 and out for the Arizona offense.
Yeah, that's the quarterback's territory.
Larry Centers ran into a wall, and I would be shocked if they give it to him. He didn't even come close.
Boy, that is Joe Kelly just filled that hole. He sniffed that thing out before the handoff even took place.
And Esiason, a delayed handoff to Larry Centers. Wrapped up, brought down at the 15. He lost.
Gain of a yard on the play on first down. 2nd down and 9. That's Charles Way in motion. And Brown going right to work, and he looks for Way, and the pass is picked off by Ray Farmer, a rookie. And Farmer is down at the 34-yard line. Dawkins and Michael Zordich. 2nd down and 6. And the ball is free, but they've blown it down at the 48-yard from the 6. The fake by Brown, and there's a fumble on the play. And it is loose and recovered by the Eagles at the 22-yard line.
Wow, that was close to being a touchdown for the Eagles.
Wheatley in the backfield for Dave Brown. The Giants down 10-0. And a handoff goes to the Michigan grad. And it's a fumble, and it's picked up, and it's another fumble. And it's loose and down at the 15. And the Eagles have recovered, and Mike Mamula is the one to swallow it up. Down 17-0. They got to get something going here. We're in the 2nd quarter. The pump fake by Brown, the sack by Philadelphia. The 3rd today of Brown, back at the 43. He was hit initially by Greg Jefferson, number 7. He has yet to grab a Dave Brown pass today. 2nd down, 10, Rodney Hampton. And he fumbles the ball, and it's loose and recovered by the New York Giants.
Because the safety has deep half of the field.
Wheatley has come in. It's 3rd down and 12. Brown. Thomas got through on the blitz. The throw is bobbled and intercepted on the play by Troy Vincent. And he's down inside the Giant 14-yard line. Brown's 2nd interception, the 4th Giant turnover. 3rd down and 6. Giants trail 24-0. Dawsey is on the move, number 88. Brown. A lot of traffic, and he tried to get it out of there to running back Gary Downs, and he was smothered again. Brought down as Kevin Johnson was all over Dave Brown. Wheatley. Play action, Fuller zeroing in on Canal, and he just has to eat the ball. That's the 5th sack of a Giant quarterback today.
And why do they going on? There's the cover 2 again.
4th down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Canal with time and the throw, and it's almost picked off by Michael Zordich. The leading tackler's had kind of a quiet day, but it shows you that he has not been on a lot of plays because the Giants haven't moved it that far downfield to get him involved in those plays.
Looking forward to training camp next year. His knee is getting stronger all the time. First down, another Falk carry. He's buried 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Colts have virtually mailed it in all year. Rush on Justin, and he's sacked. The big rush from William Fuller. Fuller with his 10th sack of the season.
What he does now is he comes up, takes a hard outside, and then boom, comes inside. Watch this. Come on up the field, get Manders moving his feet, and then just put the little club on him and run Justin down.
Justin, the quick out to Falk, trying to set up a flanker screen. Dancing around and can't get anything out of it. Nice defense by the Eagles. 1st and 10. Falk dives to get back to the original line. It's the 22. Back in the eye. Falk nowhere to go. Fuller came up, William Thomas came up in a hurry, and they pounded him. Falk hit in the backfield. That's the 2nd time that Fuller has been able to get inside, make a big stop on a running.
He doesn't really have great size. The Jets are taking advantage of that. 1st and 10. Don Griffin has come in as an extra defensive back for the Eagles. this pass is intercepted by Bobby Taylor. And the first turnover of the game, and the Eagles will get it in Jet territory. It was intended for Webster Slaughter, and Bobby Taylor picks it off for the Eagles.
Yeah, that wasn't great defense. That was bad. That's just a bad throw.
And for Taylor, his third interception of the year. We'll be right back. And Glenn Foley on the snap fumbled the ball, and Red Hall of the Eagles recovered. So another Jet turnover, their second of the game, and the Eagles, who trail 7-0, will have a golden opportunity here.
And he just never really got his hands on it. He turned to hand the ball off to Morrell, and the ball just started flopping around, and then
Jets with a first down and 15 on the 20. Joe Kelly back in the game at middle linebacker for the Eagles. And Morrell this time is snuffed out by William Thomas, the outside linebacker. Second down and 8. 2-minute warning. Jets have one timeout left. Pressure on Foley, and he is sacked by William Thomas. And a loss that time of 11 yards. The Eagles from their 38, first down. Trailing 10-0. And down goes Detmer, and it's Hugh Douglas once again. And that is his second sack of the first half this year. They have stumbled in the second half. So that's a question mark facing them as they start from the 16-yard line. And Adrian Morrell is thrown for a loss by the middle linebacker, Joe Kelly. Line. First down. Here is Morrell. Breaks away from one prospective tackler, but Michael Zordich with a fine play, makes no mistake, coming up from the secondary. They're playing well against the team that fired Richie Kotite 2 years ago. First down on the 46-yard line. Good field position. And this pass is intercepted. Michael Zordich. And he cradles the ball at the 35, and that is the third turnover committed by the Jets.
And the second straight pass that Foley has thrown poorly. He's been having a big return.
Eagles with a first down, or Jets on the first down at the 47, Morrell. And now all of a sudden that was Troy Vincent, who was question mark with an injury whether he would play today, and a lot more aggressiveness shown by the Eagle D. Second down and 6. Richie Anderson in motion right. And prepared to play by Zordich. And he still has not been hit, and now knocked out of bounds. Michael Zordich with his second interception of the game. Foley on first down. Trying to get away from trouble and takes the sack.
Nice coverage down the field. No place to throw that football.
And Mike Mamula finally caught up with him. Second and 12. Quick release, tip ball. Intercepted by William Thomas. And a big turnover. So the inexperience and the bad breaks that befall a 1-13 team evident here in the fourth quarter as the Philadelphia Eagles now on the 5th Jet turnover get the ball back, leading by 1 with 3:43 to go.
James Fuller starting for the injured Dawkins. On second and long, Graham under pressure, took a hit. Touchdown! Mike Mamula, the second-year man from Boston College, on just the second play from scrimmage. The Eagles strike first.
Now he's being blocked by Lomas Brown, so that's not an easy task. He beats Brown right to the outside, just puts some spin on him, comes right around, slaps that ball as Kent Graham sets back to launch it, and he hits it before Graham gets the forward momentum. So right there, he hits that ball, and then it bounces perfectly right into Mamula's hands. It's a defensive lineman's dream.
Second down and 11. The end around, the handoff goes to Frank Sanders. It does not work. Graham faked the handoff, and then the wide receiver Sanders.
And that's what he has to do, and the Eagles have to do going into this playoff season.
Play action on second and 9. Graham is taken down by William Fuller, his 11th sack of the season. 14-10. Cordell Stewart with an 80-yard touchdown run, putting the Steelers on top. And Graham time is taken down once again. It is William Fuller, his second sack today.
Able to do it.
Now the Cardinals will go for it on 4th and 10. Esiason throwing downfield and has the first down. No,
they're saying no catch.
Troy Vincent said no, and now the officials say no. It was Frank Sanders who nearly was able to come up with the spectacular catch. And Esiason is taken down. Third sack of the game for William Fuller, now with 13 on the season.
Boy, William Fuller just keeps going.
Side linebacker.
Hits it back to Kirby and nothing doing.
And they ran that right at Zordich. That's what the 49ers do, because a lot of teams will play nicks and throwing strikes to Jerry Rice.
Young back to throw it. He can stand around and fake people and wind up. Now that's a slide. That is a slide.
Yeah. Feet first. That's the old one. When you slide feet first, then they can't touch you.
The defense suffered its share of debilitating injuries, yet still managed to finish among the league's elite. At season's end, they were the 5th best unit in the NFL. And they accomplished this with young talent that's only going to get better. The Eagles have also drafted very well the last 2 years. 7 starters have come from the last 2 drafts. 3 on the offensive side of the ball and 4 on defense. Mike Mamula, the first-round pick in 1995, has been solid at defensive end, while Bobby Taylor continued to emerge as an impact corner. This season, Brian Dawkins proved to be a force at safety, and Ray Farmer added great versatility at linebacker.